Hello, beautiful soul. It's Krystal Hill here, and today I wanted to share with you and have a chat about this phenomena of becoming an embodied thought leader and what that actually means and how a book helps us to do that. Because for me, when it happened, I was quite surprised. It didn't quite land. The embodiment of having put some my own thoughts, my own principles, my own frameworks into a book, and now having to own that and claim that and say, well, I am a thought leader. This is my body of work. This is my intellectual property. I can now, with confidence and clarity, go onto podcasts, maybe go into the radio, go onto TV, bigger exposure and share this these principles, this awareness, this wisdom with confidence. And that's a process, just like with everything when we're shifting identity, when we're moving into a new way of being, it takes a little bit of time and it takes some effort. It's the same as when, most of you have done some healing, and you've come potentially from being shy and putting yourself last to deciding, no, I'm going to show up, I'm going to share my voice. And my daughter is going through this at the moment at school, where she just, she was eating everything in, she wasn't participating, she kept things to herself. And now she has made that decision. No, my voice matters. I'm going to speak what I have to say. I have something important to say that will benefit others. I have the emotional maturity that a lot of them don't. So who am I not to share what I know? So she made that decision, and that's an identity shift in itself, right? Um, and that's what happens to us. It happened to me and to all of the authors that I work with. Once we not only write our wisdom into a book, that's stage one, right? And there's something powerful that happens there when we take everything that we have in here, our stories, our wisdom, and put it all into a framework. When we're creating that framework, something happens within us, like a new clarity arises. But then the next step, the really powerful step that often is not even talked about and acknowledged and honored is that step of, now I birth this book into the world. Now it is a tangible thing that I can hold, that I can flick through, that I can use as a reference, and other people can do that as well. That's a whole new thing. And to what I'm trying to say here, the embodiment of that expert status, that thought leadership, where we now go and we claim our knowledge. We're not just creating it, figuring it out, writing it down. Now we are claiming it, we're owning it, and we're showing up in this new way as a thought leader, as an expert who has written a unique body of work, who has approached a common problem through a specific and unique lens. And that's what you do when you're writing a book. And if you haven't done that already, or you don't know whether you would even start doing that, then let's have a conversation. This is my area of expertise, to create that. So in my book, in The Aligned Author, what I have done is I've used the framework of the 12 stages of the hero's journey by Joseph Campbell and applied them to the author's journey. Not only that, when it came then to the allies, enemies, and tests, I've then looked at, well, what are they in the writing process? What is it that people keep getting stuck on? And is perfectionism, sabotage, well, self-sabotage, clearly, that's the overarching umbrella, right? We sabotage our own success because on some level we don't feel we deserve it, we don't feel we're good enough. We've got all these stories going on, and they depend on what I discovered when I dug beneath these sabotage patterns, which for me the main ones are doubt, overwhelm, procrastination, and perfectionism. When we dig beneath why they come, I realize it's the attachment styles that we hold that have been created all the way back in our childhood, right? So now I'm going deeper, and I've got another unique framework. I'm using the attachment styles, and I'm looking at these sabotage patterns through the lens of attachment styles. And that is unique. That is something that I haven't seen anybody do before. And so that's me now claiming this as my intellectual property. And now I actually have to embody it and know that this is my intellectual property and claim it as that. Yes, I haven't invented attachment styles, but I'm using existing tools and frameworks, applying them to my specific area of expertise, which is helping people overcome self-sabotage when writing a book. And that now needs to become embodied, and it's still in a process. I still haven't fully claimed it, but it's a new identity that we take on, and it will take time. It's a rite of passage. It's a transition, and we don't celebrate these transitions of life in our culture. Ancient indigenous tribes used to do it. Let's look at rite of passages from being a boy to being a man, from being a girl to being a woman, from being insecure to being secure, from being a single woman to suddenly being a mother or a partner, from being a child in childbearing years. I have a client currently, she writes about menopause, to suddenly going into menopause and changing archetypes from the mother to the crone or the wise woman. So these rites of passage are not acknowledged in our society, and therefore it actually takes our power away. It actually prevents us from claiming the new identity to the extent that we can, or at the pace that we could, if we just created a ritual, if we just acknowledged, hey, I've just moved into a new phase of my being, and now embodying this thought leader. So this was a very long around way of saying the core message here that I wanted to really bring across is that there is an identity shift that happens when we put a book out into the market, and that is often not acknowledged. So if that is you, if you're already at that stage, or you have done that already, look back. Have you fully claimed your thought leadership? Have you fully celebrated the achievement of putting a book out there? And if not, what can you do? What ritual can you create for yourself? Maybe it's as simple as an affirmation. Maybe it's as simple as creating a proclamation for yourself that you speak out loud every morning. How can you really, truly, deeply embody your brilliance, your thought leadership, your wisdom and expert status, so that the world can reflect that back to you? Because you've done all of this hard work, and if you don't change the perception of who you are, the world can't change the perception of you either. What you feel inside will be reflected back to you, and that's attraction marketing, right? That's when you attract to you, because you are that thought leader. And then people will see you as that and reflect that back to you and come to you for the advice that you have become an expert in. I trust this has been inspiring and helpful. And just to leave you with a word of wisdom, claim your brilliance. Claim just one little thing today that you are really good at. Honor yourself. Be proud of yourself. Acknowledge yourself for who you are and who you have become. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.